welcome back to my channel. I am eca.fairy and in today's video class is in session because we are seeing which of these empty sunscreens are getting a passing grade and which are failing the class. Some of the sunscreen students that are going to appear on this list are not even present, which like already a few points minus. In all seriousness, when it comes to the University of Skincare, we know that the SPF class is the most important course you can take, because with the other courses but without sunscreen, like the other steps are just not sitting on a healthy foundation. We are starting by evaluating one of my favorite students. I wouldn't call this one the teacher's pet. The Isn't Hyaluronic Acid Watery Sun Gel studies on their own, okay? Academically gifted from the factory, so they don't need to impress me in any way. This SPF 50 plus is getting a definite 10 because it's one of the most hydrating and totally unproblematic sunscreens that I have ever tried. This is totally reliable, always gives their homework to the other students, and never ever gets in a conflict with me, as in never breaks me out, which we just love. Bonus points for that, obviously. Much multiple tubes of this and it's always the safest and best choice. Next one is definitely the teacher's pet. This is the Garnier Super UV Hyaluronic Acid, and the way she got under my skin because she's so affordable. I have dry skin and she's clearly hydrating, obviously not as hydrating as the first one, but she's still getting a 10. To spice things up a little, now we have one of the rebels of the class, because the Cosrx Aloe Soothing Sun Cream was supposed to be a fan favorite, was supposed to be a class favorite. However, putting all of my really high expectations aside, as I kept using this, I just disliked it more and more. It stopped doing its homework altogether at some point because this peels so much. Peeling is basically when the product is starting to kind of crumble off your face and is resulting into the crumbles. I don't even know how else to describe them, and this was the case for me with this sunscreen, and I wasn't even using any sort of product on top. I was waiting enough after my skincare before applying this, and this would peel, especially in this area. It would look awful, and at first I thought that it was just me not really getting used to it. I did review this for you guys, but I wasn't through with the tube back then. It was more of a first impression kind of review. This might be a really good student in somebody else's class, but in my class it's getting a 4, not passing, because I don't want my sunscreen to be peeling off my face, and it got especially worse when I would reapply it throughout the day. And because I really love her relatives, aka other products from Cosrx, so much, I just thought that it was me not getting used to it. Really bad. I couldn't put makeup on top at all, and I just don't want a sunscreen that's doing that, so I'm not repurchasing it. These students joined the class in the middle of the semester, and their academic performance is still pretty confusing to me because it's a really small tester. This is from Ivaterm or Ivaterm, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, and it's the Iva Pure 50 plus SPF anti-shine fluid that's supposed to limit blemishes and to protect, as in an SPF. So this has full range of UV protection. However, what confuses me is the fact that this is also addressing to like oily, blemish prone skin. My skin is not oily, but I do get sometimes like breakouts, obviously, because I'm human and I'm also very stressed. Why I say that I'm confused is because obviously I wasn't able to use this for enough period of time to make sure I give it a clear grade. Now it's going to get a 5 because I want it to pass, to make sure that I see it the next semester, as in to buy the full-size version of this, because I got the tester from my dermatologist, and this actually contains thermal water from Romania, from Herculane, if you know about it. So that really sparked my interest because I haven't heard before of a skincare brand that uses thermal water from around here. A student that is barely passing is Purito. Daily go-to sunscreen, SPF 50 plus. Because the first half of the semester studied so well. However, in the second half it kind of stopped showing up altogether. What I mean by that is that after 1 month or so, because I wasn't using it every single day, I was alternating with other products as well, this got a really weird smell, and I thought that it would be just a passing thing, maybe I caught a cold and it just seems to smell weird to me. No, it stinks. Like, the smell, not the product. Like, yeah, the product stinks and it feels disgusting to put on my face right now, and that is why it just has a little bit left here because that's just gross at this point. However, for the first half of the time that I used this, it was really great. A bit too oily maybe in some days, like it would have this oily residue that I'm not fond of, but I am bothered by the claim that it's scentless and that it started stinking. Other sunscreens that aren't claiming to be scentless also don't smell awful. So if it claims to be scentless, I do expect it to be and to remain scentless. Maybe it expired, like obviously something happened to it. However, I didn't keep it in direct sunlight, in heat. I keep it in my shelf. There's no sun touching that area, no heat, right next to all the other sunscreens that I have. So maybe it was just an issue with this specific product, and the product in itself is not necessarily bad. It's going to get a 5 though, because I would be curious to try it again, maybe. However, if there's another issue that arises with it, then a definite no. And it's getting a 5 because besides the weird scent thing, it also had a pretty like separated formula. Even though I would shake it before applying it, it would kind of like separate a little, like when you're making mayonnaise. Like, that sounds disgusting, I'm sorry, but it's the truth. Like, that was the mental image that I got. So maybe this product was just broken, and if I get another one, I will have a better experience with it. So fingers crossed that you will show up next semester, because I put my faith in you and I passed you. Skeptically so. We have triplets from Supergoop attending this class, but they are all getting different results, so they can't be studying together. Because on one hand, the unseen sunscreen is passing with a 9, because this is an only SPF 30, which means that I cannot wear it during summer. However, this is water resistant, this has an extremely nice texture, and I just love it. It does smell a little like sunscreen, but in a way that I actually loved, and the texture, the way it sits on the face is truly unseen, really pleasant. I'm pretty sure this is a mineral sunscreen though. Like, all the others that I showed you before are chemical sunscreens, which basically mean that they kind of like absorb into the skin and from there they protect your skin. However, for example, this one from Supergoop is a mineral sunscreen, which means that it's sitting on top of your face, and those minerals aren't creating like a chemical reaction like the ones before, but they are sitting on top, they are reflecting the UV. I really hope I'm explaining this right, because I studied this a few years ago when I started really researching the SPFs that I was using and the sunscreens that I wanted to purchase. So if I'm not explaining it right, I'm really sorry. Back to the unseen sunscreen. She was small, but she was mighty. I can't wait to see her the next semester and to repurchase her, because great. Oh god. A bit overpriced, like the smaller version, like the triple size version, a bit overpriced in my opinion. A bit overpriced, because you can get SPF 30 plus and you can get even SPF 50 plus, which you can also use during summer for a significantly smaller amount of money. So she's a bit like on like the fancier side. Its siblings are really posh as well. They are probably spending the summer in the Swiss mountains, because this is really pricey as well, and I'm not a fan of it because it's not studying well for my class, and I'm not a fan of it because this is mostly good for, let's say, oilier skin types. This dried my face. It's not studying well for my class personally. It is mattifying, but maybe too mattifying for me, and making a total mess out of my clothes. What do you mean I can't wear anything without this somehow rubbing on it? I would literally wear dark clothes without any color and just apply it on my face and a different sunscreen on my neck, because I didn't want this to stain my clothes, and it would still stain my clothes because the formula, I'm sure you've watched the video in which I'm reviewing it at first glance and so on. Like, the formula is like sort of this BB cream, like skin colored formula, and you might be thinking, wow, that's so nice. It's not, because this doesn't absorb into your skin. This is on your skin, and if you rub anything, like even accidentally, if you are clothed while wearing this, it's going to somehow make a small stain there, which annoyed me so much, because what do you mean I stained all my colored or white or light clothes? And at first when I started using it, I didn't notice this. However, maybe I got a bit too brave with the amount that I was applying, and that's when it started to be a bit transfery off of my face. However, I didn't apply more than the amount necessary. It needs a really good excuse to be admitted to class, and unfortunately it won't be. This is getting a 4. And the reason that it's failing the class, as I said, not exactly for my specific skin type and the issue with rubbing. However, for another class, for another skin type, this is such a great product because it's actually mattifying, and the texture still feels nice even to me, even though it's not addressed to me. If you have dry skin, don't even think about getting it. Get the glowy one maybe, and also the unseen one, because this one is going to basically cling to like your dry patches and make them so obvious, you know, like that effect that you sometimes get if you don't apply enough primer and then you go in with foundation or concealer on top of dry patches and you can literally see them so accentuated, and just no. From the Supergoop family, we have another student that's passing this course because this glow stick is just exactly what it's claiming to be. This is going to give you the glowiest effect of your life, and the fact that it's an oil stick makes it absolutely perfect for when you're going to swim or to the seaside. This is basically kind of the only thing that I use to reapply my sunscreen when I'm going to swim or sit on the beach and so on. The only small thing that I have against it is, besides how difficult it is to remove multiple layers of this, because this is an actual day that I had last summer, I sat on the beach basically the whole day. First thing in the morning I applied whatever sunscreen, doesn't even matter, and then all the reapplications that I did were using this one. At the end of the day, I obviously had this oil film on my face that was extremely difficult to remove. I had not only to double cleanse, but to use the second cleanser I think like 2 or 3 times, so really difficult to remove at some point. And also, if it's windy, the scent is going to stick to your face. Learn that from me. Maybe at least wear a hat or something so it doesn't stick on your forehead or gets into your eyes. Besides that, it's getting a 7 because of the things that I explained to you, and because I'm not exactly the biggest fan of really glowy skin. However, it does what it claims to do, so props for that. Also, it's one of the easiest ways to apply sunscreen, so I think that 7 is really justified. However, I would really love for Supergoop to have another mattifying stick added to the family. I can only hope. A really reliable student that always makes it to class is the Beauty of Joseon Relief Sun SPF. This contains rice and probiotics, which makes it a class favorite. This is obviously getting a 10. You know how much I love this sunscreen. It has a little sibling enrolled, but about that a bit later. This is getting a 10 without doubt, because it has never failed me, it has never broken me out, it has never ever done anything wrong. I did go through multiple tubes of this, and of this, as I was saying, and I threw all the actual empty tubes of this out. So now a sunscreen that I cannot find the tube of, probably threw it out, I'm not even sure. This Garnier SPF serum. I also reviewed this for you guys in the SPF playlist, which you really have to check out. However, this is really passing. I haven't repurchased it. However, it's passing with a 7 because it's pretty expensive for the amount that you're given. I get that it's a serum, and serums usually do come in the 30 milliliter version and so on, but come on, this is an SPF. You know I'm going to be using it every single day, reapplying every 2 hours, making it such a small quantity. I have mixed feelings about that. As I was saying, that is passing, and I honestly want to see it returned to the SPF classroom. However, from the Garnier family, this spray one, as you probably know, my huge beef with it. If you don't, I have a whole video on that. This one is getting like a 2. Like literally not even a 4. I'm not ever going to repurchase this. It was just the worst SPF experience that I have ever had. You can find out why in the video. I'm not going to get into details. However, imagine that you have your makeup done nicely and you want to reapply SPF, and you see that this is makeup friendly, that this is an over makeup SPF, so you graciously take the tube. Obviously I threw it out, I don't have it anymore. You graciously pick it up and you start spraying, and you don't get to spraying the amount that you're supposed to. You don't, because after the first second of spraying this, your lashes are white, your makeup is dripping everywhere, your eyebrows have this kind of white dust in them, every single hair on your face is highlighted by the way this looks. And if you're going to just suggest, you can just rub it, right, to get like it uniform. Should I rub it on my eyelids where I have literal eyeshadow on? Should I just start rubbing the sunscreen? No, that's not supposed to happen. And I reapply my SPF. I don't want to have makeup dripping. I don't want to have weird stuff even in my hair. Just a big no. Huge no. And this is not to be understood as I have anything against the Garnier family. Obviously, the Garnier family performs greatly, performs outstandingly. From the Bondi Scents family, because I also have another SPF lip balm that I haven't finished yet, is this one, the scent Sweet Vanilla. This is getting a 6 because I don't like the scent. I personally don't like the scent. The scent is really nice, and I actually asked a couple of my friends about it, like, do you like this scent? I don't. They also have Wild Strawberry, this lip balm, but in the scent of Wild Strawberry, and I absolutely love that one. This one does its job. It's literally one of the best lip SPFs that I have ever tried. It's also really hydrating, however I don't like the smell. If I were stranded on an island, I would still use this if no other scents were available to me, as opposed to, for example, the SPF spray, which I wouldn't even touch. I would prefer to be scorched by the summer sun on the empty island than to ever touch that product again. Last but not least, in our class, another outstanding student, extremely reliable, is Beauty of Joseon Matte Sun Stick. This contains other really good ingredients that its sibling doesn't. It has mugwort and camellia. This is extremely calming, soothing and mattifying. This is how you make a mattifying product. Thank you very much, Beauty of Joseon, for demonstrating to us, because this is the example, the blueprint. All the other brands should just look at this product and do the exact same thing when making mattifying products. Because after using a normal sunscreen, applying makeup and then being in the sun for 2 hours, even a dry skin person like me is going to get like glowy, like oily residue, like that glowy, oily, weird film on my face. This is the savior. Really great product. And also it doesn't move the makeup products on your face like almost at all. It did pick up some blush at some point of my face, it did, and a bit of eyeshadow, but it's getting bonus points for the shape, because for example, this I cannot apply on my eyes. This is too big, too round, it's getting into my eyes, it's making them stain. However, this, it's the perfect, as you can see. Okay, see, now it did take off so much eyeshadow. Yeah, this is getting like a 7, because what do you even mean? What is that? I want to see how my eye looks. Like, yeah, you can definitely, oh my god, you can definitely tell. I now have mixed feelings about it, and to think that I talked you up so much. Like, good thing that it still has a bit of it inside, so I could actually demonstrate this huge fail. Anyways, maybe don't try it on dark eyeshadow or brown eyeshadow. I don't know, maybe it's just not made for that. Well, even some of the most reliable products are full of surprises. Just like me when I was in high school, and like this, I went from being the most calm student to one of the most rebel one from the class. So I'm not surprised. You're just like me. It's okay. Class is in recess. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to let us know your ratings for all of these products down in the comment section, and I'll see you fairies next time. Bye!